Welcome back to the Stick 'em Up podcast. Burundi. It is not official yet, but Jaromir Jagr has said that his professional playing career is likely done. Good God, it is 2026 and that man is still deciding on if he's going to play another year. Like, when
that
did
is
he even,
pretty
when did he even
pretty
get
wild.
drafted?
Um,
The 1990 NHL entry draft.
well, I was gonna say 91, so I would have been wrong. So I'm glad I didn't say anything.
For
1990.
fifth overall in 1990. I'm pretty sure that's the year that Stamkos was born. Like he was drafted into the NHL when Sidney Crosby was 3 years old, and he's still playing professional games. Just absolutely ridiculous. You have one of the only players where to see his entire career on HockeyDB, you have to scroll. It doesn't fit all on one page, and even then, you have to scroll quite a few times.
It's pretty long. I mean, it's at 36 years now of playing professional hockey.
Yep, and he's
and there's probably even goes back even before that, because I guess he was only drafted in what's the first year that
he played his first professional games in 1988 for Kladno in the Czech League.
So almost a 40-year career playing at the pro level.
Dude just loves to play hockey.
Yeah.
He played for Kladno for 2 years, then got drafted into the NHL. Looks like immediately won 2 cups in his first 2 years. Played for the Penguins for a while. They had that like half to a third season lockout in 94-95. He went back and played for Kladno while that was happening, but played for the rest of the season in the Penguins. Played in the NHL all the way to 04-05. He went back with another lockout. He said, fuck it, we ball again. I go back to Kladno again. So now that's his third time going back. Then he keeps playing in the NHL. Then in 2012, 2013, they have another lockout. He says, fuck it, let's go play for Kladno again in the Czech League. Goes back, finishes out his NHL career. Says, fuck it, at this point, I'll buy the team. Now he's the team owner and the team captain and says, let's go play another 8 or 9 seasons with Kladno. Like,
it's pretty ridiculous how long and just the journey he's gone throughout his career. Like it's pretty impressive, and it's nice for him that he had the option to go back. You know, there's a lot of guys. You know, you think about guys like guys right now in the NHL that will want to play. You know, until their bodies can't, and that's kind of guys like Crosby and Marchand are kind of two pretty good examples. You know, for them when it's
right,
they're done in the NHL. It's they're done. You know, I don't think they're the type of guys to go overseas or anything and play. And thankfully for Jagr, that's just kind of going back home for him. So it's a pretty easy transition, and a team that he's already had numerous stints with throughout his career. So it worked out perfectly for him, for a guy that just wants to keep on playing until he basically physically can't. He had the opportunity to go and play another 8 or 9 years after the NHL.
Yeah, that's
pretty remarkable.
Yeah, one of the best careers in NHL history and just in hockey history. So
hockey history as well, yeah, absolutely.
Stick taps to Jagr there, and we'll see if he does officially retire. It sounds very likely at this point. Sounds like he's heavily considering it, but nothing official has been said. The man is 54 years old.
Yeah. Eventually it is time to.
Eventually you do have to, but he's 10 years past the point. Like 10 years ago, he was 44. If he was playing in the NHL at 44, everyone's like, "Oh my God, how are you still doing this?" And I mean, I guess at that point he was, because he played in the NHL his last season in the 17-18 season. So that
with
would
the
be
Flames.
like nine years ago, something like that, which would still put him at 45 years old.
Yeah.
He had 7 points in 22 games. He was a plus 10. Sorry, a plus 6. He had 10 penalty minutes.
Yeah,
He was good.
it's pretty impressive.
We can move on
into the NHL. Where do you want to begin here? We don't have a whole lot of news over the weekend. We only got a little bit of things, but that's just kind of where we're at. It's the road to the playoffs, so there's usually not a lot of headlining news that goes on.
A lot of it is just standings.
We do have some stuff. We do have some stuff though.
Let's talk about the big one. Let's talk about Vegas's coaching situation.
Vegas. Absolutely.
So the Vegas Golden Knights, they fired head coach Bruce Cassidy and immediately named John Tortorella as the replacement. I feel like I saw a weird amount of people who were not super surprised that Bruce Cassidy got fired, but they were shocked that Tortorella was brought in immediately. And I'm like, there's like, 8, 9 games left in the season? You're not going to go without a head coach. Like, if you're at that point, you have to know who your head coach is immediately after the firing. So it was either going to be a head coach being brought in or an assistant getting promoted. Brundy, what are your thoughts on this? Because I think we both know Bruce Cassidy is a very good coach, but Vegas has been on a skid, and at this point, it was hard to tell if they were even going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, so it's tough, right? Because obviously Bruce Cassidy, very successful in Vegas, right? Was brought in 2022 to the time he's fired now. He had a win percentage of 623. So 178 wins, 99 regulation losses, and then 43 overtime or shootout losses. Had a .600 win percentage in the playoffs, and obviously that includes a Stanley Cup in 2023. Right. It's just so weird to see a coach get fired when there's 8 games left in the season.
Right.
It's not very often you see that. And while I do think he is a great coach, I do think it's kind of warranted. Like, I do think that it makes sense just when you look at the lineups, right? Like, you make that investment of almost $100 million in a guy like Mitch Marner, who, probably not top 5, but a top 10 winger in this league. And you're utilizing him as a second line center. And it is kind of tough because, Willem Karlsson has been injured, but you still have Tomas Hertl. That's now your third line center.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was when that started to happen, it was kind of starting to be like, we're maybe getting near the beginning of the end for Bruce Cassidy, because again, in my opinion, the Mitch Marner investment is bigger than the Jack Eichel, the Mark Stone. Like, it is the biggest investment that the Vegas Golden Knights have made, because again, Mark Stone was good at the time, but he wasn't, the Mark Stone that he kind of has flourished to be a part of Vegas. Jack Eichel, there was concerns with the injury or not. Like, you were getting a fully healthy Mitch Marner, who again, top 10 winger in the league.
Yeah.
Losing Pietrangelo hurts.
I think a lot more than they thought.
The defense never really recovered, and they did trade for Rasmus Andersson, but he really hasn't been lighting it up there. He's been rough there. The goaltending has been
defensive pairing as well.
Yeah, the goaltending has been abysmal this season, and so while it makes sense for Bruce Cassidy, I think you're starting to get to the point with Vegas where maybe you got to start looking at the GM now, Kelly McCrimmon. He's done a great job there, but how many, what's he on now? He would have been the one to fire Gerard Gallant, Peter DeBoer, and now Bruce Cassidy. all three really good head coaches.
I will
that he
say,
has already gone through.
generally, that is how we look at teams. We look at teams, okay, do you have these problems? Is it the players? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Most of the time, it ends up you look at the coach. Eventually, you fire the coach, you bring in a new coach. After a couple coaches, you start to look at the GM. I think when you win a cup, it kind of maybe not fully resets that counter, but I think it takes one or two off of that counter a bit. Like
Absolutely. Yeah.
he's gone through some good head coaches, and man, none of them are really sticking. But you also got 3-4 years out of Bruce Cassidy, including a cup. So
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like he should be on the hot seat as much, but at the same time, something does need to change. But I do think head coaching will help them a lot. Um, Very rarely in the NHL do we see a team get a new head coach and not do better right away.
Yeah.
Players, they get a fresh set of eyes on things. Usually the coach also just lets them play some fun hockey. Like I know John Tortorella doesn't scream fun hockey, but usually it takes at least a couple weeks for their system to kind of get in place and stuff. And
Mhm.
it's kind of usually they're like, all right, go play kind of what you were already doing. Let's see what's up. And they get to kind of
Yeah.
play the old system without the old coach being there to overrule it.
Yeah.
And I'm very interested to see what Tortorella is going to do with the squad because you're completely right on Mitch Marner. At the start of the season, they were asked in some press conference. They were asked, "Okay, you've got Jack Eichel. You just brought in Mitch Marner. You said you're going to play them on a line together. Who's going to shoot the puck?" And Bruce Cassidy said, "Well, one of them's going to have to shoot it." And very quickly he realized neither of them were going to shoot it, and he had to split them up. And I get splitting them up, but Mitch Marner is a player I do think can play center if you give him enough time to learn it. But you
He's
paid a
never going to be
lot.
as effective, though.
Exactly. And you paid a lot of money to bring in this guy because he's a top 10 winger in the league.
Yeah.
Just play the guy at wing and he'll probably be awesome. Like it's so bizarre because yeah, now you've got Tomas Hertl on the third line. I get it. That's sexy depth. You could just have him be your second line center. That's totally fine. William Karlsson is out right now, but once he comes back, he is a more than capable third line center. Hell, if they need to move
Yeah.
Nick Dowd up from the fourth to the third line, I don't hate that. I don't think he's too bad of a player to play on the third line. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, I really think they do need to be putting Marner back on the wing and shuffling some guys around. I do like the fit of him playing with Dorofeyev. I think Dorofeyev's a
Yeah.
really good shoot first player, and I think he benefits a lot from playing with Marner. But
Yeah.
I think that second line, if you can go Marner, Dorofeyev, and Hurdle, maybe teach Dorofeyev to play on the far side, give Marner his right wing back. I think that would help him a huge amount.
No,
I
I think you're absolutely right.
I think this is going to be a much better hiring than people are anticipating, not just for the very near future, um, because I think they'll just get that new head coach boost, but just in the long term, I think a lot of these guys play a John Tortorella style of hockey, and in Vegas in general, just has that vibe where it's like we're here for business, we're here to win. Let's go fucking do that.
Yeah.
And he loves those defensively responsible, but still high end talent. I think Marner's going to do fantastic under him. I think Mark Stone's going to be very good. Jack Eichel. I think a lot of their defense core is going to like playing for him.
Yeah.
Like he's a hard ass, but he's never really been too unfair of a
Yeah.
coach. And I think that kind of fits Vegas's MO a bit. They're hard ass, but they're not quite unfair until they, kick you to the curb. But at that point, who cares? You're not with us. So
Yeah. No, I think you're 100% right. When John Tortorella, like, things were going awful in Philly, and it at the end of the day became a team he couldn't coach, right? And then
yeah,
you look around the league, Vancouver, I'd even say Calgary, Montreal, New Jersey, like those are teams that he could not coach. Like those are teams that the way they're structured, Tortorella
He's not a rebuilding
cannot coach there. And it's not even a rebuilding coach. It's just the type of players that are there. And it's no disrespect to the players. It's just that Tortorella needs a specific group of players. And I think you're right. I think Vegas actually is probably like the perfect fit for him in terms of
there's not a lot of better fits.
The type of team that he needs. So again, like, who is the better coach? I'm probably leaning Bruce Cassidy, but at this moment in time now for Vegas, Tortorella is probably the better option. And
he's a fresh set of eyes.
Yeah. And for Bruce Cassidy, I mean, he'll be, he'll be unemployed as long as he wants to, right? Like he'll probably have a job by next season. And someone did throw out the idea, and I thought it was kind of interesting, but I think Edmonton's on like a 3-game win streak now, kind of getting comfortable in a playoff spot. But it was the idea of Edmonton, kicking Knobloch to the curve and bring in Bruce Cassidy. And I thought that, that would be something that would be pretty interesting, but that would be obviously not gonna happen now, given the little bit of a run Edmonton's gone on. But
I think
again, Bruce Cassidy will be we'll have a job whenever he's ready to, because there will be teams going after him.
That would suck to not get an awesome coach as Bruce Cassidy, because your team ended up winning 3 games in a row from game, 69 to 72. Like, that would be a big fumble to not pull the trigger if you think that's right for the org. I definitely think I don't see much of a world where it ends up being a huge downgrade. Like,
I don't know if that's a very interesting an improvement. But it wouldn't be a downgrade in any way, from Edmonton's perspective. But for Vegas, I mean, again, it is kind of weird because you normally don't see a team that's going to be making the playoffs, fire their coach and bring in a new coach with, only 8 games or so left in the season.
Yeah.
But, Vegas had to do something. They're not afraid to take big swings, and this is, again, we don't know, but maybe for Kelly McCrimmon, maybe this is a Hail Mary. Maybe he knows his job is at risk, and this is a move to kind of either you save your job or you went down swinging and you tried something new. And then if you're Vegas, then you can, if they do go the route of firing him, then you have an offseason to bring in new GM, new head coach, and kind of try and reset the team a bit. That's kind of in a bit of a weird spot. It's unfamiliar territory for them. It's the first season that they're going to have a losing record in the regular season.
Well, and it's interesting because, I was just saying how, especially since they won the cup, the GM shouldn't be too hot on the seat. But at the same time, the bar is very high for Vegas. Ever since they entered the league, they've been hyper competitive. They've only missed the playoffs once. And I think even if they make it this year, they're on pace to have less points than that year that they missed out. Yeah. But they just went out and bought on Mitch Marner, and they're in a playoff spot, but it's looking very, very possible, at least, that they could end up missing. And if you buy on Mitch Marner and get him for dirt cheap, because there's, the whole, is there some tampering? Probably, but I mean, how could you prove it? Maybe everyone gets tampered.
Yeah.
Either way, they traded Nicholas Waugh for Mitch Marner and then extended him. You get that kind of fleecing and then miss the playoffs. It is a rough look. So that is definitely interesting. One other thing I want to say with John Tortorella's fit here, he loves a team with a good goaltender. And this team does not appear to have that.
They've probably had bottom 3 goaltending this season.
They have and dead last in the league, 32 out of 32 goals saved above expected, which is crazy because the Senators have existed this year.
And the Oilers. Those are the bottom 3 in terms of goaltending. And it's mostly Vegas fans, but also just hockey fans in general. The losing Pietrangelo hurts, and it's not really an excuse because we kind of knew at the end of last season that Pietrangelo was going to be done.
You had all
We
summer to
already knew.
figure out
And then
what
they
it is
still
Joki
waited
does.
till
Like,
middle of January to trade for Rasmus Anderson to improve the right side of your blue line. And again, while I think Anderson's a good player, I don't think he's a good fit in Vegas. It just hasn't worked very well. So
he's playing with Jeremy Lauzon right now. Like,
that's a player I would love to have on my team. Lauzon. But we'll see. Again, we'll do a standings update because again, not a lot of news, and Vegas is going to make the playoffs. It's looking more and more likely that it's going to be a first round match up against Edmonton, and that'll be a big series for them because again, the goaltending has been shit on both sides, and if Tortorella can implement even a little bit of a better defensive system to help out the goaltending, I think it makes Vegas that much better and probably gives them the edge over Edmonton. Now, if things stay the same, I'm probably leaning Edmonton's way. So,
yeah, it was looking like it would be two teams going up against each other, kind of stale, kind of rockier than they want to be, and we'll just see who comes out on top. At least this move makes it Vegas got a fresh set of eyes, they got a fresh attitude versus the Oilers, who are scrambling to try and be as good as last year, which was also not good enough. So it does kind of give them a leg up a little bit. One other thing I want to say about John Tortorella's hiring specifically is that the details on his contract have come out. He has been hired to coach the 8 remaining games of the regular season and the 2026 Stanley Cup playoffs for the Vegas Golden Knights. Any decision on seasons beyond will be made at the end of the season. So they're not committing to anything long term. He is the head coach for this playoff run and the rest of the season to get there. And that's
like,
it. If
they
love what they see, you can bring them back, extend them. Probably.
But it's got to be at least second round, right? Like, it's got to be at least get out of the first round to keep them.
I would think so, unless
I don't think they keep him even if the team
goes
looks better,
nuclear on him. And even then, it would have to be like, we're out in 7 games, but McDavid averaged 2.7 points per night. Sometimes you can't account for that. If they do go out in the first round, it would have to be a very valiant effort and a very close series for him to get rehired, re-extended. But yeah, I think more than likely it'll have to at least be out of the first round. Because I don't think anyone's going to blame him if, they get 2 rounds in and then get just slaughtered by the Stars, the Avs.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people are going to put that on him at that point. But
no, you're right.
Yeah,
I think definitely they'll got to get out of the first round, and then they'll kind of go from there.
And this also makes it very interesting because, Vegas at 80 points, Edmonton at 83, Ducks at 86. There's a bit of a gap there. So it does has been looking more and more likely that we're going to see this matchup. There's not a ton of games left, but if the Golden Knights can go on a bit of a heater and get into a spot where maybe they end up playing, the Utah Mammoth instead. If they can avoid Edmonton with a really good streak down the end.
Yeah.
Like, nobody else in the Pacific seems to want to win, so
yeah.
We'll see if they can maybe change the narrative going into the playoffs.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Running out of games.
Next up, we got a little bit of Flyers news. John Tortorella's old team. What do we got here with Philly?
A player that John Tortorella would have loved to coach. Porter Martone. We were talking last episode about how many different rookies and prospects have been brought into teams, and Porter Martone has just been signed to his ELC from the Philadelphia Flyers. The Flyers, who are only 2 points out of the playoffs right now after an 8-1-1 run in their last 10. They've been on an absolute heater, probably the hottest team in the league right now. And Porter Martone is it's funny because the narrative already around him is the exact opposite of Matvei Michkov going into this season. What did we hear from their new coach as they went into this season about Michkov?
He's lazy.
He was lazy. He showed up out of shape. They didn't like his attitude. Porter Martone just showed up fresh out of Michigan State for the Philadelphia Flyers. They were asking him about, just some of the things we can expect from him. He said from the season start to right now, he started the season at 198 pounds. He's right now at 210. He's put on 12 pounds. He's lost 3% body fat and felt that his strength has grown exponentially over the course of the season. This guy put on 12 pounds while slimming down, and that's got to be some of the best news you can get as a Flyers fan.
Yeah, and he's just the
young power forward who looks like a bastard to play against is getting cut.
He just screams awesome. a Philadelphia Flyer.
I was very happy for them when they drafted him.
He's gonna come in, and especially knowing Rick Tocchet, sky's the limit for Porter Martone, right? Like, there's a world I could see Rick Tocchet valuing him as their most valuable player by the end of the regular season. Just the way that he plays and what he brings to the game is exactly what Rick Tocchet looks for in his players, right? And it's been a and that's the tough part, right? Because again, I think Rick Tocchet's a good head coach. A lot of other people don't, but again, when you look at it, you take Rick Tocchet and you put him on, you give him an Anaheim, even a Vegas, a Florida, not just because they're good teams, but the way they're built, right? Like Rick Tocchet and Elias Pettersson, it was never going to work. Him and Michkov, I'm still not convinced it'll ever work.
No.
But him and Porter Martone, now that's something I'm very excited to see. And like you mentioned, Flyers have gone on a run of 8-1-1, 2 points out of a playoff spot, and that's not that's wild card spot, but they're also only 2 points back of third in the Metro. And we kind of had them ruled out a week and a half ago, and they're right back in it. And now they're adding Martone into the mix.
I was doing my best to leave the door open in my mind for the Capitals and the Flyers. And I believe it was last episode where we were going over the standings and you were like, okay, I think we can officially count out the Flyers and Caps. And I wanted to make an argument more for the Caps than anything, but I was like, yeah, they were both like 7 or 8 points out of the playoffs with like 9 games left. Like, yeah, come on, that's not happening. At the time, the Flyers had like a minus 15 goal differential. Now they're up to minus 3, same as the Red Wings. So, yeah, like I mean, a lot of the times, hot teams end up being the ones to get in the playoffs, and they are right in there with
it. Also has, not to take anything away from how impressive Philly's been, but it also helps when you're winning. And what was it on Saturday? Like Columbus lost in regulation, Boston lost, Ottawa lost, Pittsburgh lost. Like all the teams that are above them that they're fighting with, I think even maybe Detroit lost. When you win and they all lose, except the Islanders were the only team to win, but whatever. They're, like that's huge. That's 2 points you're gaining on all of those teams right there. Like no one's moving away from you really. And that's huge for them. And I think Philly did learn. They went through the process of not wanting to sign Cutter Gauthier and burn a year off his ELC and throw him immediately in. And, that unfortunately cost him. That decision made him decide, all right, I don't want to be here. I want to go elsewhere.
Right.
So is it, they kind of learned from it, or is it they fully believe Martone is ready? And I think it's a bit of both.
I can't believe some of these teams play that level of hardball with that level of prospect. Like if you've got this guy looks like he's going to be a good middle six forward for us. We draft him in the second or third round. Maybe you try and eke out an extra year on the ELC. Dude, we knew how good Cutter Gauthier would be. What is he, a 5th overall pick? Give him what he wants. You get to extend him for 8 years, or I guess 7 now, earlier in his career. Like, we've seen plenty of teams burn bridges with phenomenal players for that reason. That was one of the big underlying things with Mitch Marner for a long time in Toronto. They told him when he signed his ELC, as a organization rule, we do not give out the grade A rookie bonuses. We don't do it for anybody. We just don't. And they're like, you're going to get the second tier of bonuses. That's the highest we'll ever give out. 1 year later, they draft Auston Matthews. They sign him and give him A tier bonuses. And Marner's, what the hell, man? That is like exactly the opposite of what you told me 300 days ago. And, we've heard stories. He didn't forget about that. It's not the main reason he left, but it sure didn't help to get off on the wrong foot like that.
Yeah, it's like I get when you want to play hardball with your prospects when you're in a position like, Vegas, Tampa, Florida, teams that are trying to win right now, and you don't have a lot of cap space. Like, that extra year of the ELC is huge. A team like Philly, actually, I think Philly's one of those teams that's, not super good, but they're kind of in cap hell. So, doesn't help my argument. But like the Flyers, it's almost better to bring in Martone now. You burn a year, and now he's only got 2 full seasons to.
You only have to wait one more calendar year.
Yeah, and then
like
you can
400 days. You could have him extended,
and potentially get him for a lot cheaper, as opposed to you got to give him at minimum 2 full seasons in the NHL to produce and show what his value is. So it's one of those ones where I kind of got to look at the team and decide from there. But for Philly, this is a huge addition to, again, a team that's one of the hottest teams in the league right now, and beating good teams too. Like, it's not like they're just beating up on shit teams. Like, they're having to work for these wins.
They've had horrible goaltending for multiple years, and that has been one of their biggest strengths this year out of nowhere. And it's completely turned this team around.
It's a good coach.
He's a good coach. I still don't love the fit in Philly.
No, I don't love the fit in Philly, but
the best players are, Matvei Michkov, Trevor Zegras, Owen Tippett, like, not really those kinds of players.
But he's made it work with Zegras and Tippett.
He has. So it's
just with him and Michkov is the problem. And I would love for them to find a resolution there. Because, like Rick Tocchet's proving that, he can get the most out of this team. And it maybe took a while, but the team's starting to find its footing. And I would not be surprised if they're in the playoffs by the end of the season.
One game that made it much more difficult going forward for them to get into the playoffs is the Blue Jackets and the Bruins played 1 or 2 days ago now, and the Blue Jackets went up by 3 goals. Over the course of the game, the Bruins came all the way back, and with, I think, 11 seconds left, tied it up 3-3, and the Bruins ended up winning it in a shootout. Now, that is wild card 1 and 2. Bruins are 1, Blue Jackets are 2 at 92 and 88 points each. Not only the Bruins getting 2 points, but the fact that the Blue Jackets also get 1 point, like points for both teams in those wildcard spots, that just makes it that much harder for Ottawa, the Red Wings, the Flyers, everyone trying to get in still to overtake either of them. Yeah, I'm very interested. It's funny because I think the Senators should be able to make a stronger push than the Flyers to the end of the season to get in the playoffs, but the Flyers, they have the wild card or the Metro to get into. The Sens, they can only get into the wild card. Like, the Habs are 3rd in the Atlantic now at 94 points. That if they win like 3 more games, that's going to mathematically lock up an Atlantic spot. Or I guess at least lock them into the playoffs. The Bruins might pass them, but the Sens won't.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very interesting run to the end, at least, which at least we're getting that, because there's a lot of problems with the playoff formats, but at the end of the day, at least we're getting games late in the season that still matter. There's nothing worse than, it's February 1st and we know what the matchup's going to be. It's like, that's boring. So
yeah. Yes, Flyers going on a run. Hopefully make the playoffs. One team that their playoff chances could officially be done tonight, the Toronto Maple Leafs. We got some news surrounding the Leafs, and that being some beef, some disagreements, and it being very vocal and showcased, especially in practice, between William Nylander and Craig Berube. Braden, do you want to set the scene of where we're at with these two, and not only these two, just where Toronto's at?
yeah,
We don't have to go super deep into it because we've done it previously.
it's pretty
but
documented.
Just
but
this situation itself.
yeah, if we want to talk about places that could be replacing a head coach, I mean, you could do a lot worse than Bruce Cassidy if you're kicking out Craig Berube, who
I don't think Bruce Cassidy would be a fit for Toronto, though.
Probably not, but it's got to be somebody. And at this point, you're going to look at almost every coach in the world and go, players will probably fuck it up, though.
But if you're Toronto, though, I will say, what's the point of firing Berube now? Because, again, like we said, every team that fires a coach and brings... But again, if you're Toronto, you want to try and get down to the 5th overall pick. You don't want to fire Berube and bring in a Bruce Cassidy, go on a run and win, 5 games, and then you're now giving Boston the 8th overall pick, the 9th overall pick. Like, I think Toronto's kind of just at the point where they're just sitting on their hands and saying,
I get that, but
you just got to ride it out and hope we get a top 5 pick. Because again, for Toronto, worst case
scenario, you got to hope you get a top 5 pick, but you also got to hope you're not demolishing the vibes, because they're already bad.
The vibes are already destroyed. Like, Nylander proved that by
but Nylander's not asking for a trade out yet. What if he does by the time summer's over, because he's like, you just let us rot with this idiot behind the bench?
I don't even think it's the worst thing for Toronto, to be honest.
If they're going to trade Nylander, you want it to be what you deciding it, though, not him handcuffing you and you end up getting a cheaper return and all that, right? Like,
I mean, that is true.
You don't want to ruin the vibes too much, and I've never seen a team this openly and this brazenly hating the coach they play for. It's been a while. And again, we've seen single players
bad.
No, and I don't even think any of the players think he's a bad coach. I think it's just he's not a fit for this team. We saw the video a week or two ago of Max Domi just turning his back on Berube, not listening to him when he's trying to tell him how to play out there during a timeout or a TV timeout. And the other day, William Nylander goes in practice. I think he scored a goal, which everyone always keeps including in the story. I don't know if it's a scrimmage or what, but like, was he bragging about scoring a goal in practice? Either way, he scores. He skates over, and Berube's telling him something. And he literally just goes over, and he's just like this. Like, doing the Hulk Hogan, like, I'm listening, I can't hear you kind of thing to Berube. Like, right beside him.
And clearly not listening to what Berube's saying either. Like, totally ignoring him while he's doing his taunt.
Exactly. Like, it's insane. I can't even imagine doing that. That's just, even if I fucking hate the guy, I'm like, that's so crazy to do that right to his face, man.
We talked about the other night. If you're Berube, like, fucking sit Nylander for the rest of the season. Like, you just got totally bitched out by him, and you just fucking took it.
It's Toronto Maple practice. He knows that people are going to see that. Yeah, he knew this would be going around. He can't flip the bird. He can't flip the middle finger without the whole world knowing. Like, frankly, again, he should have been already benched, in my opinion. Like, if I'm Craig Berube, he was already benched the moment that he hit Stolarz up high with that shot in practice.
Yeah.
The fact that another Leafs goalie got hurt in warm-ups, and I say in the group, our hockey group chat, Stolarz goes down from a high shot in practice, and you go, it's fucking Nylander again, isn't it? Like, You didn't have to hear it. You already knew it was Nylander because this is the third time he's done that. Like,
Yeah.
there are, as a former hockey player, not at high level. I literally played the sport. I sit there on the couch at times, and when a guy is really fucking bad, I'm like, that was so lazy and brain dead. Even I could have tipped in that pass or whatever, right? Most of the time, you're just annoyed your team did something shitty, right? That's very rarely true. This is one of those moments where I would have warmed up better than William Nylander because I don't shoot it at the goalie's freaking head. How easy is it to not just shoot at his pads, man?
Yeah.
Why does he keep ripping them up there? Like, it's absolutely bizarre. But there was that. That obviously doesn't help. There's been team-wide just chaos with how annoyed everyone is with everyone. Then Austin Matthews goes down. The only guy who's willing to stand up for him is the freaking rookie, Easton Cowan. All the guys come out and they talk about it in the press conference. Morgan Riley and Nylander both say, I didn't see what happened in real time. You go back and watch it. Nylander watches it the whole time. He sees it happen. His arm goes up like this because he's looking for a call from the ref. So clearly he knows what he's asking for a call for. And he just watches his buddy be injured on the ice and not do anything.
No.
And then he says, I didn't see it. We all saw you watch the whole damn thing. You even reacted to it. Yeah. Like, it's brutal. The team's doing bad. The coach, they're not listening to him. The players aren't sticking up for each other. Yeah, at this point, it's just like so jumble fucked. I have no idea who to blame other than everyone. And it's easier to fire a coach than it is fire an entire roster, as much as maybe that's the answer. So,
but that is the thing, though, right? Is again, like,
I do think they're going to do it in the
offseason. Going to get over the next 2 weeks, from where it's at now. It's already in the shitter, and I think your best bet again is to ride the season out. Hopefully, maybe you get the 5th overall pick. You can get a good prospect who can hopefully jump into your lineup next season. You fire Berube in the offseason. You do a little bit of retooling because again, you're going to have a little bit of cap space to work with, as opposed to you get the 7th overall pick. Now that's going to Boston.
I wouldn't expect a huge jump from this team if they just fire the coach. Don't bring anybody in. I don't know if teams even, do they legally need a head coach, or can you just fire him and say we're running with this squad? If they
you need to bring in an interim, you need to promote one of your assistants.
Does it have to be interim? Okay, I wasn't sure if they're allowed to just have assistant coaches and be like, we're all assistants.
You've got to have a head coach.
So take Derek Nylander, whoever's their assistant coach. You're the interim coach. Interim, you're not keeping this job unless you really fucking kill it, but probably not. Guys, go out there and play the final 8 games. We don't give a shit how they end.
But again, it doesn't do you any good if the Leafs go on a bit of a run, and I don't think it helps.
I think it's important enough to not mess with the vibes too deeply, as well as this is not a team that I have confidence in rallying around the assistant coach getting interim promoted. Like, especially without Matthews, I don't see Nylander going, okay, time to show him what I'm made of for the last 8 games when they're out of the playoffs. Like,
it could, if Berube is gone, it could light a fire.
I feel like they're just not going to care.
I want to play good and it'll be an extra bigger FU to Berube when he gets canned, and now I'm balling out with him gone. It could light a fire under some players and be like, this dick's gone. It's I can play my game again, not what he was trying to coach me to be.
Little bit of gamesmanship. See if we can meet in the middle here. Say they fire Berube. They promote whoever from within. He's interim. Mm-hmm. But you still want to lose games. Well, you've got a very injury-prone starter, whoever you think the starter is, Stolars or Wool. You've got a very injury-prone backup, the other one that you didn't just say.
Yeah.
Shut them both down for the season. Run an AHL goalie tandem.
Well, Dennis Hildeby's been their best.
The Marlies need him. The Marlies need him. He stays in the AHL. You bring up one ECHL goalie and the backup AHL goalie. And those are your goalies for the rest of the year.
It's good to throw that out in theory, but then it's very clearly tanking. It's the same reason people are
Has a team ever gotten in trouble for it?
People are crying constantly about Florida and their guys getting injured. And
hey, trust me, I ain't crying over Florida's guys getting injured until they get
no,
in Canada,
but people are throwing out the idea of
I know what you mean.
To Florida now, back-to-back Stanley Cups and potentially, getting the 8th overall pick, the 7th overall pick. Like, what if Florida grabs Ethan Belchez, who's already 6'5", 230 pounds, as a fucking 18-year-old.
Yeah.
Imagine the
That's
damage
exactly
he's going to do as a Florida Panther. Yeah. The only other team is I mean, I'd love to see him go to Philly and him and Porter Martone, but that's not happening. I'm just trying to think of the long-term outlook of the Leafs, right? Because again, they're in a fucking horrible spot. You have no top-end prospects, no first-round picks. Well, I mean, you do have Colorado's first, but fuck, that's basically a second.
It's a glorified second for sure.
How weird is that, though? Like, we talk about Colorado's first, and we're like, oh, it's a second-round pick. But then we talk about the Flames' second-round pick and New York Rangers, we're like, oh, it's basically a late first. It's like...
It's all grading on a very strange curve.
We suck. Toronto's just in a really rough spot. I say you just ride it out. And again, I think you need a new head coach, new GM. You got to just hit a restart and hope that you can make something work.
They are 9th in the league right now. Honestly, I'm liking my argument for getting a new head coach more and more looking at this, because they're 9th in the league. So obviously, if there's no movement, because that's all we can guess
9th
at.
last?
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, they're 9th from the bottom. So they would be getting the 9th overall pick, movement permitting. They're tied with the Kraken. 1 point up is the Kings. Only 2 up is the Preds. The Devils somehow are a couple above them. Like, if you go on a bit of a run, I wouldn't hate them giving Boston their 13th, 14th overall pick. That's not too bad, because at some point they are going to have to give up that pick. And if they don't give it up now, it's going to be unprotected later. What if they still get your pick in the future and, Nylander asks out, or Matthews isn't that same great player anymore because of the knee injury, or something like that? Like, now you're a bad rebuilding team and you don't have your picks and your biggest rival is getting them unprotected. Like, that's even worse than where they are now, right? So I'm still very split on whether they should tank and try and get that good pick now, or do what you can, maybe try and make the Bruins pick less bad, because that'll just help your soul and you get your future first back sooner.
I mean,
it's a very complicated situation.
I'm just trying to think of the best way to get for sure. Toronto back on the right path, because again, you bring in no top end prospects, locker room's at an all-time fucking low. You now start have to wonder, do you have to consult Nylander on the head coach, or is he gonna, poop his diaper if they choose someone that he doesn't like? They're just in a
at the same
really
time
tough spot.
I'm surprised more teams don't do that a little bit. Doesn't it make sense to not the whole team, but
no,
get together Austin Matthews, John Tavares, Morgan Riley. They've been there forever and they're the core of the team. Probably Nylander as well. Get probably just those 4 guys in there and be like, we're thinking of these 3 guys. They're our main candidates. What do you think about these guys as coaches? Do you know any of them? Do you care? Like, what's up? Like, and not just for Toronto. Like, if they were doing this in Vegas, I wonder, they probably didn't, but maybe it would help to be like, okay, Eichel, Stone, probably Marner at this point. He's a big piece of the future. Like, Shea Theodore. What are we thinking here? Like, obviously, you pay them to play hockey. They are not the minds of the team, but it does matter how they are coached and what happens.
Because if you...
Connor McDavid brought in his guys.
Yeah, but...
These guys aren't Connor McDavid, don't get me wrong.
I was going to say, it's Connor McDavid. Yeah, no, and I do get what you're saying. I think it's a very fine line that you need to be careful of. You look at New Jersey, right? And if you play the favorites card, fucking ruins everything.
Yeah.
Right? Like they play the favorite with Jack Hughes and Luke Hughes. And again, I think Simone Nemec is a better player than Luke Hughes.
Agreed.
And he's going to be out the door because he has a different last name. Every guy that felt valuable on the team
He's going to look so good in San Jose teal, dude.
Yeah, I don't think he'll go to San Jose. San Jose doesn't have anything to give up for him. But then you look at all the other guys that New Jersey makes him feel valuable, but then it's the moment, hey, Jack and Luke want their brother. We want to ship you out. And it's like, well, now those guys don't feel valued. And then I think you get into a tough position where you never want to put, if the players have beef with the coach, that's fine. But you never want to have player and player problems, because that's look what happened to Vancouver.
It is worse than with the head coach. You're supposed to butt heads with the coach a bit.
Yeah, but you never with the players. So
those are supposed
Tavares
to be your
and
brothers
Nylander
and there.
Matthews are like, oh, we love this coach. Like, let's bring him in. He comes in and he's just fucking hates Easton Cowan. He hates Hildeby. Hates Domi. And now you've got guys sitting there like, glad our superstars get to be best friends with the head coach and they hate us. And again, probably not going to happen, but I think it's risky.
Yeah. And I definitely don't think it would be they get veto power over it or anything. It would be more of,
no.
We're thinking of these guys. We're pretty close between them. Have you guys been coached by them on another team in juniors? Like, do you know these guys personally? Mm-hmm. Like, what do you think of them? Are you leaning any way? Maybe you like this guy. Maybe this guy you've watched from afar and his team's power play has been ridiculous and you want to be a part of that. Like, just a little bit of advisement. In my head, that conversation goes very differently as well for teams that have won a cup recently versus other ones, Like, you can just picture that asking that leadership group is so much different if you're doing that with Florida. Say Paul Maurice retires. You're asking Barkov, Tkachuk, Ekblad, who they want out of a couple of candidates. They're going to have some good input. You do that with Tampa. You do that even with, going back to the Penguins. Like, they're going to have some really good input. If you're doing that with, like the Rangers, it's like, what are they going to have to say that's going to be great input?
Yeah. No, that's true. No, I think you're right there. Obviously just a very bizarre situation, and you normally don't. There's always going to be players and coaches that butt heads. We talked about Michkov and Talkett, that's one, but you never really see it publicly displayed quite the way that Nylander did to Berube, and I think that is definitely a problem.
Yeah, it definitely is. And if it is public, it's usually in media availabilities, not right. He's right beside him. He's like, that's multiple times now. Different players to his face have been like, I'm not literally saying it, but like, I'm spelling it out for you in plain letters. You fucking.
I think if I'm
Craig
Berube, like, again, maybe it's a bit petty, but if I'm Berube, I fucking quit, and then I just list off all the nasty things that's going on there. Just make it so, like, be like, fuck, you want to go here? This look at all the shit.
You're not thinking about the logistics, okay? He doesn't get money. He doesn't get money if he quits. He should just do it while he's working there. And what are they going to do? Fire him and he gets paid out?
Pull the Tortorella method.
I mean, Torts.
Be like,
people didn't like how he left, but he's still working in the league now.
Yeah,
he's playing with a way better team. And he got paid out for that. He didn't have to quit and lose any money.
Yeah, that's a good point. And we said at the time, I loved what Tortorella did. I didn't love it for the Flyers, but I loved it for Tortorella because it needed to be said by him. It needed to be done. And yeah, I think Berube should do the exact same thing.
It feels extra toxic because nobody ever does that and says the quiet part out loud. But that doesn't mean it's not being said behind closed doors anyway. Like, Can the vibes get that much worse? Again, like, that's what you're saying.
About Berube, it's one of the toughest coaches in the league, but I also think he's a little bit of a bitch now because you got publicly embarrassed by two of your best players and you just take it.
He might be the most embarrassed guy in the league this year by the Leafs. I don't think
Yeah.
any other team got embarrassed more by them over the season. Like,
Yeah. So I agree. I think that's exactly what he should do. Just start saying all what's wrong there. Everything sucks. The stuff, everything that's shitty. And yeah, what are they gonna do? Fire you? Okay, still got to pay me.
yeah. And that's not going to make it harder for him to find a job in the future. Like, because the way all 31 other teams look at Toronto, they look at him like an alien. Like when Sheldon Keefe started coaching in New Jersey, and he was saying, I was getting all these calls and text messages of all these other people saying, welcome to the real NHL. Because doing everything in Toronto is a different beast entirely. Like, it's crazy how many people dislike that franchise in that city, but it also just lives rent free in their head, even when unasked about it.
Yeah. Last thing here before we can start to get into, I know you also have one other thing you wanted to do, but before that, we're already on the topic of the Leafs. Sure. It is worth noting that for tonight's game between the Leafs and the Ducks, that George Paros will be in attendance.
Do you know who else will be in attendance? This was breaking right before we started recording.
No, I do not.
Radko Gudas says he is going to play tonight. He is still injured, but he's going to play tonight against the Leafs. He says, I want to stand behind my own mistakes and address it myself. Radko Gudas just came out, WWE Championship on his shoulder, and just issued an open challenge to anyone who has the balls on the Maple Leafs to fight him.
Yeah, it's easy to do when it's the Leafs, though.
Oh, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like, it doesn't really make you that much tougher to say I'll fight anyone on the 25, 26 Maple Leafs. But now the onus is on the Leafs. If they go out there and just play a regular hockey game, like, that fan base is going to burn the arena to the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, I do respect Gudas
all the guys who do have good vibes, like Easton Cowan being like 19, 20 years old and willing to stand up when nobody else would. If they go into this game and nobody does anything again, eventually he's going to be like, either he's going to want out or go, fuck, I'm the only one fighting. I guess I'll just not fight either. Like, that's got to be disheartening.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing. A very good chance Easton Cowan is the one to fight Gudas. I do respect Gudas for being willing to play in the game and answer the bell if need be. I do really fucking hate that he tried to play the sympathy card when talking about how I reached out to Austin Matthews. It was a hard conversation. Like, shut up. Like, you purposely
I do think that is important.
Him. You purposely injured him. Don't try and make everybody feel bad for you, being like, I'm so sorry. I heard it was a tough conversation. Like, who gives a fuck?
I think he had to say it because people do care. Because every time a player gets injured and then it comes out a week or two later, this guy didn't reach out to me. Everyone's like, what a dick. He didn't even DM you about it, which, like, that's just weird to be like, oh man, he didn't DM him. Like, it's weird to care about that.
If it comes out, it comes out. Yeah, and like, I don't give a shit. Like, I think what was it? Was it? I don't know for sure, but I think it was Rantanen when he injured Romanov, and I think he tried reaching out to Romanov, and Romanov just didn't respond. And I'm like, yeah, that's.
I think that's
the way it should be. You know, a guy purposely injures you.
Honestly, I think that is the way it should go. I think one guy should reach out and apologize, and the other guy
just ghost him.
Turn on your read notifications. Let him know that you read it, and that's it.
Or just reply with the thumbs up. You hold down the message and send the thumbs up or something.
Yeah. Or I would never be able to have that full conversation. Certainly not while I'm still injured, right? Mm-hmm. Like, at most, I would be responding, all good. And I'm probably only giving that to a guy on another team that injured me if we played in junior together or on a national team. Like,
I just want to get a moment where, like, Gudas calls Matthews, and Matthews just straight up says, just like, I mean, and it wouldn't mean much, you know, coming from Matthews, but something like a keep your head up next time. Like, let the player know, like, I'm coming for you next time. And again, it wouldn't be that intimidating coming from Austin Matthews, but, you know.
If he said it in the right way, it would be. Like, I'm not afraid. I'm not exactly a guy who would be afraid of Austin Matthews, but he's a relatively big guy. What is he, 6'3" or something like that? If a
I don't
guy
even
who
think Matthews
notoriously
knows he's
doesn't
that
say
big.
that stuff, but like,
Yeah,
if
true.
he had the balls to say, not we'll see you on the ice next time, not that. If he specifically says keep your head up, I'm telling you what, I'm watching that game. 100% I'm watching that game.
Okay,
What the
yeah.
is Austin Matthews gonna run Radko fucking Gudis? Be kind of cool to see.
Who like, again, probably Eastern count, but like who fights Gudis?
That's so fucked up
Is
that
it
the
is
thought
it
is
is it
probably
Domi?
Radko or probably Easton
Is it
Cowan.
Domi?
Domi is my first thought. I would not be shocked if Matthew Nyes got in there with him.
Maybe Jake McCabe? He's
If
kind of toned down the fighting.
if they
lately,
put him
though.
in the lineup, Michael Pezzetta should be the guy if they put him in the lineup. And for the love of God, why would he not be in the lineup for this game in particular?
Mm-hmm. Gudis has to fight back, though, right? Like it can't
and I think
be
that's the only reason
in the
he's
lineup
in this game,
to,
really.
To drop the gloves, but I'm thinking of like the Perry one where he accidentally, kneed Tavares in the head in the playoffs and that whole mess, and he had to fight Foligno, but then Perry just sat there and just got bitched for 30 seconds. Like you got to fight back. Again, do I love the hit from Gudis? No. Do I think it was scummy? Yes. Do I think he purposely did it? Yes. But should he drop the gloves and just stand there like a bitch? No. You drop the gloves. It's a proper fight, and you hopefully both teams move on. But if the Leafs hold a grudge, I also kind of dig that. I don't.
It'd be cool to see them give much of a shit for a little while, right? Like, people just want this team to be passionate.
Someone fights Gudis, and then you just keep hitting the Ducks all night long. You dump it in, and I mean, maybe it doesn't work with. Well, you know what? Actually, no. Toronto does have some guys that would buy in on that. You just dump it in. You just keep hitting them all night long, and you.
And what are you gonna? What's gonna happen? Are the Ducks gonna get drug into a big slobber knocker of a game? Like they're still trying to make the playoffs. They're trying to stay healthy for the playoffs. You don't give a fucking shit, man. You already took our guy out for the season. Our season's already been done in the standings. The Ducks have a lot more to lose than the Leafs here, which adds an interesting wrinkle of dynamic because, Matthew Nyes could end this game with 12 hits, and how many times is he going to get hit back? Because, he's just got so much left to lose with this game.
But the thing with George Paros, right, like in attendance, the whole reason George Paros is going to be in attendance and is making it known is to try and make sure dumb shit doesn't happen. But that's the thing. So George Paros is going because of his own doing. If you gave Radko Gudis a 10-game suspension, he wouldn't need to be in attendance tonight. But he's in attendance because he fucked up. And now there's going to be at least one fight. There's probably potentially some other, shenanigans that are going to go on. And it's George Paros' own doing. So he's trying to go.
If Domi doesn't fight, he's going to get greasy.
You guys know I'm in
with
attendance.
At least
you better be on your best behavior for me. And I think the Leafs and the Ducks should go out there and just be a big fuck you. I just have a line brawl to kick the game off. Just this is a moment where you
that's what Tampa, Florida did in the preseason. Tampa was getting screwed over by the Department of Player Safety, and they said, okay, we're going to go out there and embarrass the league and make a fucking mockery of your game to show you what you've created. And, well, they caught enough fines that it clearly got the league's attention.
Yeah, so it's going to be a must-watch game. Is it in Toronto tonight, or is it in Anaheim? It's in Anaheim.
I was going to say, the last one was in Toronto, so probably Anaheim.
Yeah, that's less fun, but oh well.
Well, what are the odds Paros would have gone up to Canada for this, right? I'm very interested to see what happens. And Paros, like, we didn't talk a ton about his press conference that he had, but one of the things he said after that, after the Gudis knee on Matthews, and he got called out by Matthew and McDavid's agent. He got called out by McDavid specifically. Like, there was a lot of heat on him, and to the point where he came out and did a first press conference in multiple years. And one of the things he said was, because you can only give them 6 or more games if it's an in-person hearing. In-person hearing. They're done on FaceTime now. But they gave him a phone hearing, which meant maximum 5 games. And he said, if we had any inkling that there was even the slightest chance he would get more than 5 games, we would have done the in-person hearing. But we didn't think that was the case, so we didn't. You idiot, you gave him 5 games. You're telling me the right call is 5 games, but it was unthinkable. There's no possible way we're going to give him 6. That's 1 more game, dude. Does that guy even know that math? Like,
it's pretty.
He really self-reported on that one, and we didn't get to talk about it before, but yeah, this is going to be a good game. Hopefully. It should at least be fun.
I know there was a segment you had or something you wanted to touch on.
Yeah, not a huge segment or nothing, but we've been talking about NHL teams as they clinch and mathematically eliminate themselves from the playoffs. And I figured we might as well do that for the PWHL because their playoffs are coming up soon. And the Boston Fleet last night became the first team in the PWHL to clinch a spot in their playoffs. So just wanted to shout out the Boston Fleet on that. I think Erin Frankel had another shutout the other night. She's
had 3 in a row.
Shutout? Like, that's so ridiculous. Like, man, she has just been on an absolute tear.
Yeah.
Her hockey to be so goofy, regardless of playoffs, regular season, what year, which she's played professional hockey for 7 years now. What's her lowest save percentage on a year? A .921.
Jeez.
That's this year. This is her worst statistical year of her career, and she's got 3 shutouts in a row. Like,
it's pretty wild.
That lag. She got a season with a 965 in there, a 956. Both of those in 23 and 32 games. Like, good God. Just been crushing it. Love bringing it up.
It is very, very, very impressive. The season she's been having and continuing just set these records that, relatively new league, but some of these records you kind of look at and are probably going to be there for quite a while already, which is pretty incredible.
I know some people, it makes them a little uncomfortable, so they don't like to talk about it, but it does not bother me. But women playing in the NHL comes up every once in a while when you see a really good talent. There have been women playing in the NHL in the past, not very many, and I believe all of them goaltenders. But Erin Frankel is very good and a goaltender, which is probably the easiest position for a woman to get into the NHL in if it were to happen again, if or when it happens. She's 26 years old. She's still in her prime. Good goalies age better. She probably gets better than this. She is 5'5", which makes it very tough. The average goalie in the NHL is probably like 6'3". So I think that
what was it last year?
A lot.
Paros was the only goalie that was under 6 foot.
Jeez, I thought you were going to say at least 5'10". Under 6 foot.
Yeah,
Isn't Dustin Wolf 6 foot?
I think so. Yeah.
Man, his whole brand.
Or was it like a Dustin Wolf and Saros? Where
I mean, even if it is that, that's still only 2 goalies, 2 very good goalies.
Yeah, Dustin Wolf's listed as 6 foot.
Wow. Damn. Yeah. I think 5'5" is a little bit short. She would have to be nuclear and like undeniable, like over multiple seasons, putting up 980s to get that level of attention. But she's one of the best goalies we've seen in quite some time. So I think it's a fun conversation at least. But either way, we can move on to how many things do we have left? Do we just have standings?
Yeah, so we'll have to be quick with the standings update because we kind of have been running a little bit more than I think we were planning to at those first few topics. We already know Rangers are out. Toronto could mathematically be eliminated tonight. Florida's right there on the ropes. Florida's down to 5th last in the league.
Can I hit you with a pitch?
Yeah.
But not like in baseball. I think the NHL should implement a new rule. I think they should make it that teams should not be. There's no way to say this without coming across as salty. Teams should not be allowed to get the first overall pick. They should not be entered into the draft lottery. Move up to 1 or 2 if they've won a cup in the last 3 years, 5 years. There's a lot of bad teams that need the help. And it's always crazy when one of these very good teams is just randomly down there like the Panthers are. And there's a very real chance that they end up with a Gavin McKinnon and Ivar Stenberg. They have the same amount of points as the Blues and the Sharks. And I get it. It's the reward you get for having a bad season. But also fuck teams who win, right?
No, I get what you're saying. The only way I think you could even ever justify something like that is they can't move up, but they can't move down. So right now, say everything stayed the same, they'd be 5th overall. Say Winnipeg wins the draft lottery and jumps to 1. So Vancouver would drop back to 2. Chicago would drop back to 3. The Rangers would drop back to 4. The Flames would drop from 4 to 6. And Florida would stay where they are.
Okay, I see that.
Because you can't really tell a team, you can't win the draft lottery and move up, but if 2 teams jump over you, you can fall down. I don't think you can really that.
I think you probably still could, because at the end of the day, it's shut up, you won a cup. You're going to look at the Calgary Flames and be like, you got to take the bullet for us because we won recently, but we're bad now.
But that's also saying
I have no idea what the timeline would be, if it would be 10
St.
years,
Louis,
5 years, 3 years, maybe 1 year. But
on the flip side,
I think it would be neat to
Calgary,
be you won. You don't get to complain about too much for a bit,
But when have
catch-up
we
mechanics
seen that,
in the league?
That's the thing. It's only a conversation because it's Florida. If it was
100%. Well,
if it was a Colorado in there, or
I personally, it irks me more that it's the Panthers. It would absolutely still be a conversation if it was the Avs. Dude, I don't want the Avs getting one of those players. Are you kidding me? They're good enough.
What if it was Tampa?
Well, then it would be somebody else complaining. Obviously, I wouldn't complain, but I would be able to recognize it's not good.
I do get
when
what
your player
saying.
makes a bad hit, you're like, it's not too bad. Shouldn't have done that though, right?
No, I do get what you're saying, but I mean, yeah,
it's not exactly something that needs the league's attention right away or nothing.
Because it would, for a team like Pittsburgh, right? You say they go on a run and win the cup this year, and it's Malkin then retires, Crosby gets injured and is done, and then it's well, now you're a shitty team and you don't get to get a first overall pick for the next 5 years.
So maybe that's the argument that you knock it down to 3 years or 2 years, but I still think that's okay. At the end of the day, they won a cup, man. You won a cup, and especially the Penguins. Now you've got 4 cups for your core.
That is true, but at the same time, you now sewer a franchise for the next 10 years, potentially.
And maybe that
it does actively
maybe that creates a bit of a
shifting
of the guard,
where in league essentially.
Maybe it makes it so teams are trying to rent on younger guys that can be a part of the future versus going after a Corey Perry who isn't going to be a part of the future. Maybe it means there's a bit of different thinking. It's not something that needs attention from the NHL, but I think it might.
I do get what you're saying. I totally do understand it. I think it's just too risky given different scenarios that could arise from it. I think more.
There's 100 different ways every NHL season can go that all of a sudden it's not not something that should be affecting these specific teams. So, how many team? What is it? You can get 3 first overall picks in 5 years. Is that it?
I think it's only 2, but it's
okay.
moving up. Like it's winning the draft lottery. So that's teams like Chicago when they jumped up to get Bedard, the Islanders with Schaefer. But like a team like San Jose, they never jumped up. They only retained their spot. So it doesn't count for them.
Interesting.
So they could win the draft lottery and move up this year and next year. But if Chicago moves up, like, because again, Chicago's 31st. Odds are by the end of the season, they're going to have the second best odds at the first overall pick. They win, they jump up, they're now ineligible for the next 2 years, I think, or a year. I don't know if it's like starting from when you win the second one or when it's from the first
I imagine
time.
It's in a 5-year span, so it's probably from when the first one happened.
When the first
if
one,
I had to
and
guess.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Well, that's good that you're saying it's 2, because I thought it was 3, and I was going to suggest they should bring that down to 2 at least, because obviously it hasn't happened since the Oilers. But man, 3 first overall picks in 5 years would be ridiculous. Like, that's at a certain point. Like, I get it. Maybe the team still needs help, but you got 2 first overall picks. You're probably still picking in the top 5 in the other years in between. Like, at a certain point, get good.
Edmonton had 4 and 6.
Jesus Christ. And they just like kept doing it until eventually one of their players was generational.
Yeah.
God
and
damn.
One of those years that they didn't get the first overall pick, they still were able to draft Leon Draisaitl. So
yeah,
there's that. Yeah, look at the standings. I mean, standings really haven't actually moved much from when we discussed it. It kind of just got a little bit more clogged in the East and the West just for that wild card battle. Like Blues they're 7-1-2 in their last 10. They're now only 4 points back of a playoff spot. San Jose's 4 back, but they got 3 games in hand on Nashville. Winnipeg's right in there, only 3 back. Seattle 2 back. Kings only 1 back. Even in the East, Columbus is holding on to that second wildcard spot, but they are even tied with Pittsburgh for 3rd in the Metro. Islanders are only 1 above them. Ottawa 2 points back. Detroit 2 points back. The Flyers now only 2 points back. Washington 5 back.
Everyone else is kind of
it's going to come right down to the to game 80, game 81, 82. Like it's is
going to be
why
really fun there.
We've already discussed this before. The NHL needs to do like a last day of the season, Saturday. All 32 teams play, and it's rivalry night. We've had this idea before. Like, if you get the possibility of a, Islanders Columbus game 82, winner gets 3rd in the Metro, makes the playoff, loser is out. You get a potential like Ottawa Montreal battle, winners in, losers out. I think that'd be sick. Personally, I think that would be really fun to get those kind of matchups, especially with how close the league is now.
Yeah, I think having that final day where everyone's playing, you don't have to be like, is my team playing? That day everyone's playing, and you've got all these interdivision matchups. You cut down on travel going into the playoffs. You get a lot of rivalry matchups going on, and if you're both fighting for a playoff spot or something, you get that huge fight in there. Like,
you get that playoff.
I think it would be
the end of the regular season.
It would be really fun, and it's just it would just be free, awesome publicity for the league. Just time for the big game, right? Like,
no, absolutely. I think it'd be great for the league. I'm still a little bit bummed that we don't get it, but maybe one day.
Maybe someday.
With that, I think we can start to get into our closing segments here.
Yeah, I think we're about at that point.
All righty. Do you have any idea what I got for you today?
I do not.
Good, because you wouldn't even be able to guess because it's something a little bit new
Categories.
we're gonna do here.
Oh, damn.
I'm gonna
He was
hit
right,
you
I couldn't.
with a this or that. So I believe I've got 11 matchups here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got 11 matchups here for you. And
Okay.
I tried to pick players that are somewhat similar in some cases. But it's pretty simple. I'm going to list off the two players, and you can only pick one of them.
Okay.
And it's up to you to determine the way you want to look at it. If it's, for, building a team or just on a playoff run or just take for this season. It's
Okay.
totally up to you on whatever way you want to interpret it. But at the end of the day, you got to pick player A or player B.
Okay. I'm going to set that out right now to kind of set my parameters. I'm going to do this based on if I'm building a franchise, if my team signed them this offseason to a long-term contract. But in my head, all these players get the same money.
Okay.
It's not a question of money. Is the contract worth it? What they're on now? It's about if they all had equal contract, which would I rather have on that
Which should you
contract?
gotta have? Okay. I like that. Ready for your first matchup?
Ready.
Cole Caulfield or Dylan Genther?
Oh, that's a fun one right off the bat. I think I got to take Cole Caulfield. He's just too good. I think Dylan Genther is getting pretty underrated at this point in the league. He's a very good goal scorer. Cole Caulfield might fuck around and win the Rocket this year, though. I think he's up to 46 goals on the season, so I got to take Cole Caulfield on that one.
All right. Wyatt Johnston or Tim Stutzel?
Oh man, he's throwing heat. He's throwing heat at us. I'm gonna go Wyatt Johnston. He's a little bit younger, but he is a goal scoring demon, especially on the power play. He came into the
also
league and
kind of a
immediately
proven
was so
playoff
good.
guy too.
Yeah. And, not gonna say Tim Stutzel is not a good player. That's why he's, in that conversation. But he's a little bit of a diver. Likes to go for a swim every now and then. Not a huge fan of that. I only like it when it's
Vejmelka?
Corey Perry.
Yeah. Vejmelka or Dostal? Two of your favorite goalies.
Two very good goalies. I gotta go Lucas Dostal.
I kind of figured.
He's got just too much upside. Vejmelka's a very good starter, but if he's lucky, he could he kiss that part of the elite conversation. I think Dostal's borderline projected to be there at some point.
Fair enough. This is a fun one. Lane Hudson or Matthew Schaefer?
Oh,
This is the big debate on Twitter, which is kind of what got
I was gonna say
the idea for doing this. So,
especially with the Dobson trade in there, it's definitely been a conversation.
even though, in my opinion, it's not close. But.
I was gonna say I have to go Matthew Schaefer. Lane Hudson is incredible, but it's one of those things where it just feels like comparing an elite player to a generational player or a franchise piece to a generational player. Like, I think they're already so comparable, and this is Schaefer's first year in the league.
And he's doing it at 18.
At 18 with a worse team. Like, the Islanders' power play is not what the Habs' power play is, right?
Yeah.
So
absolutely. All right.
There's not a lot of guys that would take over Hudson, but Schaefer is one of them.
Jason Robertson or Tage Thompson?
That's a good one. That's really good. Oh, and it's so hard because, frankly, my gut reaction was Robertson. It's got to be Robertson, but Tage Thompson has kind of evolved this year into playing with the frame that he has. Like, Like he
using his
played like a
size.
much smaller player before, and he's embraced the fact that he's a giant now.
Mm-hmm.
Something keeps telling me Robertson, but you know what? I'm gonna go Tage Thompson.
Ooh,
I'm
all
gonna
right,
go Tage. I
all
picked Cole
right.
Caulfield. My team's a little bit small. I need that size.
Need some size. Kyle
Robertson couldn't even
Connor.
get onto the Olympic team. Like,
Yeah, true,
what can you do?
true. Kyle Connor or Philip Forsberg?
That's pretty good as well. Something tells me I'm going with the unpopular opinion on this one. I'm going Philip Forsberg. I think
I
I
think
think
that probably
he's
would be the unpopular pick between these two. I think, yeah.
he's one of those guys that I think he probably has a better shot than Kyle Connor. And I kind of like his passing a little bit more, but I think it's just Connor's speed just often puts him in
Is
positions to score a lot more
yeah,
often on his own. Um,
yeah,
Forsberg, when you're
fair.
like setting up on a power play, is one of the best in the league at being able
Yeah,
to set up a play, and he can pass, he can finish, he can do whatever. So
yeah, fair. I feel like this one's a pretty difficult one, but I think for you it's going to be pretty easy.
okay,
Moritz Seider or Charlie McAvoy?
that is a really you were right on both accounts because that is a very good one, and I think I'm probably in the minority on this one, maybe. But I'm going Mo Sider. I just absolutely love his game. Like he plays like a wrecking ball. He blocks shots. He can score. He can pass. He's not afraid of anything. He hasn't missed a fucking game in his career yet, despite doing all those things. Like he's an Iron Man too. Like he, you know, probably not on that level. At least not yet. It's also weird comparing forwards and defensemen. He
Mhm.
strikes me as that Jerome McGinley type. That just he's a fucking hockey player. He's not a speed demon, he's not a playmaker, he's not this. He's a hockey player. He does it all, right? He
Yeah.
just strikes me as one of those guys. And not to say
No,
McAvoy doesn't do a lot of those things as well,
I was gonna
but
say no, like because in my opinion, I think Charlie McAvoy is the toughest player in the league.
he's not the smartest player in the league because if he was, he would wear a
Not the
fucking cage.
smartest. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I genuinely don't think there's a tougher guy in the league than McAvoy, considering just the fucking
That's
beatings he
fair.
constantly takes, and just yeah, and just doesn't even put on a cage or a butt. Like just keeps going out
Not even
and
a bubble. Like, come
putting his
on, man.
face on the line.
More guys
Um,
need to adopt the cage. It's a good look.
this might be the toughest one for you because you glaze the shit out of both these guys constantly.
Oh hell yeah.
Dylan Strome or Jordan Kyrou?
Oh man. That is a really good one. Dylan Strome or Jordan Kyrou? I think I'd gotta go Dylan Strome. I think he just has more point scoring potential. I think Kyrou probably has more goal scoring, but overall offensive production, I think Strome's more likely to. Um, he's also a
Yeah.
center. He is also a former third overall pick, so like it's more likely, I guess, he stays at that level as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's a pretty good one though. I like that.
Dustin Wolf or Logan Thompson?
Dustin Wolf.
Dustin Wolf. You're
There
quick with that.
there are not a lot of goalies who get into the league that young. Like
Okay.
I still remember when Tampa finally lost in the playoffs to the Leafs. They lost in the finals, and then the next year they lost to the Leafs in the first round. And people were like, "This is the changing of the guard. It's not going to be Vasilevsky at the top anymore. It's going to be the young hotshot Shesterkin." Shesterkin's like 11 months younger, but it doesn't look that way because Vasi got into the league like 5 years earlier,
But I think
right?
Vasi also came over earlier. Like Shesterkin stayed in the KHL for a while.
Oh yeah, but like just not a lot of goalies end up getting into the NHL, whether it's because they're trying to or they can't or they're busy playing somewhere else. Um, very few play at the age that Dustin Wolf has played in the NHL and been good at. Like
Mhm.
he's already touted as a very good goalie. He's already a Calder finalist, and his prime still might be 7 years away.
Yeah.
Like,
No, it's a very good point.
or maybe he has 3 Vezinas in 7 years. Like, who knows? Logan Thompson is very good. I think the sky is the limit for Wolf. He has potential to be the number 1 goalie.
Josh Morrissey or Thomas Harley?
You know what? Josh Morrissey. I'm gonna have to do an audit on this guy. Because I know he gets injured going into the Olympics. The question is, does he get injured in the NHL? That's 79 games, 78, 81, 80, 68 this year. I'm taking Josh Morrissey.
Josh Morrissey.
I think he's a little bit better, but I wasn't sure if I would be concerned with the injuries. If I'm picking for Team Canada, probably picking Harley.
I'm picking Harley. Yeah.
That's 2 times now that Morrissey hasn't been able to represent because of injury. And, the best ability is availability.
Yeah. And the last matchup here, we got a couple of LCs. We got Leo Carlson or Logan Cooley.
That's a fun one. I probably said that about most of these.
No, they were all fun ones, I think, in my opinion.
Damn, I really like both of those players. They both have been derailed a little bit with injury, but they're both still so young. Give me Logan Cooley. That guy's sick.
Wow.
There were
I
some
did
people
not think that's where you're going to go with that one.
There were some people talking on the Tampa subreddit about trying to trade for him by trading out like Geeky and Bjorkstrand and a couple extra pieces. And I was like, do you even know who this player is? First of all, he's got like a $10 million extension. Why would they move him? Like, armchair GMing at its finest.
Absolutely.
That was a really close one. Honestly, I have no idea who's going to be the better player, but Logan Cooley is
both just surrounded with great talent too. But that was this or that. I guess we didn't mention it during the episode, but you've brought it up a couple of times, so we can mention it that Alex Ovechkin's streak of not starting a single shift in the defensive zone ended the other night.
He had 2.
The streak is over. He got a hat trick that night too, so makes you wonder. So.
I think he scored one of the goals off of the defensive zone draw as well. Like, I'm pretty sure like they won the faceoff. They passed it up, odd man rush, and he scored like 10 seconds after the faceoff. So,
yeah.
I wonder if he knew that stat and was like, okay, let's try and make something of this. Like,
but
maybe bust
with
his
one
ass
streak ending, a new streak opens up. The NHL started tracking hits in the 2007-8 season, I believe. And it has never happened before since they've started recording that a single player has played 50 plus games in a season with 0 hits. We could get that this season. Troy Terry, 52 games played coming back from injury, not a single hit given this season.
How do you
be honest, I don't love that.
How do you accidentally not like bump into somebody when they have the puck to the point where they call it a hit, you know?
Yeah.
Like there are some guys that do not play big at all. Like, they are afraid of contact. They're 5'9", and even those guys will get 11 on the season. Like, sometimes the guy's there and you gotta lay the body and make the play. Like, having a low amount is like, maybe that's not their game. Having 0 is like
is kind of alarming.
You don't want to. Yeah, it's
you're
not
like scared of body contact in the game.
Yeah,
which I don't love. So we'll have to keep an eye on that because that's a new.
Do you have Troy Terry's stats up, so at all?
Yeah. How do you want to know?
How many blocked shots does he have?
15.
Is he afraid to get 15? Okay, so probably not a ton on purpose, but he's not super afraid of getting hit by the puck, at least.
Just afraid of hitting a guy.
Interesting. I guess when you're on a team with Radko Gudas, Jacob Trouba, you're able to get away with that every once in a while.
still gotta be willing to dish out one hit every now and then.
Yeah, probably should though.
Like, yeah.
Who's the other bastard on that team? I know they got another one.
Killorn.
Killorn's throwing it around, but
McTavish, Kreider.
Maybe Kreider. Maybe I was thinking
Seneca.
Kreider. I kind of thought they had another one on defense. Maybe I was just thinking of John Carlson.
Jeff Viel.
Just one of the three older guys.
He's a forward. But that brings us to the end of the episode. We actually were able to get a pretty decent one here, given not a lot of news going on, but we work with what we got here. If you enjoyed the episode, if you want to talk hockey, let us know your thoughts on anything and everything going on that we maybe missed. You can do so through any of our socials or on YouTube in the comments as well. Braden, the battle for the playoffs continues. The matchups just become closer and closer as every day goes on. It's going to be a wild journey, but as always, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. The wild card races, they're heating up. They're getting right down to it. It's going to be super interesting to see how this season ends, what teams get in, what teams don't. The Penguins in particular are doing their damnedest to hold on to this playoff spot, this Metro 3 spot. They had to deal with Crosby being out from the Olympics. He actually went down again the other night. I'm not sure if that's anything's come out on that front. Malkin was out for 5 games. Like, they're dealing with a lot, and they're also getting screwed by the reffing. They had 2 back-to-back really bad goalie interference calls where should have been clear goalie interference. The goal was allowed. Then it was the exact opposite way for them, and then all of a sudden they decided to allow it or not allow it when they were the ones scoring. The other night, they had a goal scored against. Erik Karlsson had his stick ripped out of his hands, and the ref just watched it and didn't give a shit, and the other team scored. Like, they're dealing with a lot from all angles right now, and they're making themselves a very easy team to cheer for. On top of just, who doesn't want to see Crosby get to the playoffs one more time, right?
Absolutely, yeah. No, 100% right.
Yeah. Erik Karlsson's been on a tear.
It's been very
He wants to
good.
get back.
But that is it for this episode. One fun time. Hope you all enjoyed. And as always, we will see all of you out on the ice later this week.